Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about cardiovascular disease, and uh, there are a lot of myths around it. And we actually, whenever we think we have a risk of it, probably we our body shows some symptoms. We should probably go for certain tests such as homocysteine levels, insulin resistance test, and a lot of blood works which tells maybe we have a risk or we have a cardiovascular issue. But these doesn't tell why we have this and what are the interventions. So most of the interventions are generic, right? You'll be either put on medicines and drugs, or there'll be fat diets which will say okay, you have insulin resistance, so probably stop eating carbs, eat a lot of protein, which is actually counterintuitive, right? So probably I'm going to discuss today about it, and very important aspect, right? So we really need to understand the molecular mechanisms, right? What is happening going on inside our body at a molecular to cellular level, right? What is making us develop a disease? That is what I'm going to explain you today, right? And probably this will demystify a lot of myths around it, and you may have the right sort of information to ask the right questions to your cardiologist, or probably to your fitness trainer or coach, right? Uh, so again, I'm going to press about a very uh, you know uh, unaddressed issue, which is oral microbiome, right? So we all know that gut microbiome is the largest colonizer of various bacteria and fungi and viruses and yeast living on inside our body. But oral microbiome is as equally important. Probably it is much more diverse than gut microbiome, and it is the second largest, most colonized area inside our body, right? And these microbes are linked with uh, causing oral health issues such as periodontitis, gingivitis, cavities, and a lot of these things. But there's they have an impact on overall body health, including cardiovascular disease, right? So these microbes, again, we don't have to focus on which microbes are there, but what they're doing, what they're producing, which genes they are expressing, not which genes are there, right? So when we are having the wrong dietary process or wrong hygiene practices, so what I mean by wrong hygiene practices is even check the toothpaste, using a lot of mouthwashes, a lot of sugary stuff, right? Or maybe eating food which maybe high protein diets, so a lot of these things which actually imbalances the oral microbiome, right? And when it balances the oral microbiome, it leads to uh, certain production of certain harmful metabolites, right? Or which causes inflammatory response, right? So 45% gut and oral share 45% bacteria. So every day we consume 1.5 liter of saliva, and through this saliva, a lot of these bacteria move from oral to gut, right? But when our gut is balanced, it really does not impact our health, because a lot of the good bugs or bugs doing beneficial stuff goes to the gut. But when there's oral gut dysbiosis, right, oral microbial dysbiosis, a lot of these bad bacteria or pathogenic bacteria doing pathogenic activities, right, such as Streptococcus mutans, P. gingivalis, all these can move to your gut, and uh, can impact your cardiovascular health, right? So so one way is what we call as bacteremia. So all these bacteria move from oral to gut, right? Other is oral gut communication, right? Third thing is important to understand is the saliva or the mucus, right? So mucin have a lot of these lichens, and a lot of these bacteria actually consume glycine, and they can lead to mucin degradation. Again, mucin is something, a productive barrier between your microbe and between your oral epithelium cells. And again, it is broken, so probably it also prevents the formation of biofilms, which is one of the reasons why we have cavities and a lot of these things. So essentially, if we are we have microbes active, and which are degrading mucin, it increases the risk of a lot of inflammatory activities going on inside the body, right? So when these oral microbiome can actually, so certain metabolites, let us talk about certain metabolites which causes it, right? Um, so one is obviously, LPS, which is lipopolysaccharides. Again, LPS triggers inflammatory response. It leads to immune system overactivation, right? It leads to production of certain pro-inflammatory molecules like MMP9 and this cytokines which can cause lesion, which can cause plague in the artery, which can increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. So this is actually released by both by oral and the gut microbiome, right? So I'm talking about here the oral microbiome. Similarly, the gut microbiome also produces the same stuff, right? So when you're consuming a lot of sugary, so a lot of processed foods, or white wheat, right? All these can lead to production of LPS, which can cause inflammation, which can cause uh, you know lesions and plague in arteries, right? Second thing is uh, you know uh, short chain fatty acids. One of them is bitrate. Bitrate is again essential nutrient which our body gets when a microbe metabolize a lot of fibers and convert them into bitrate, propionate and acetate. And the reason bitrate is actually strengthens your gut lining. It regulates your insulin sensitivity, a lot of these things. So it's really important, right? So if your oral microbiome is producing short chain fatty acids, right? Is going to have productive benefit, but again, there is a contradictory view over, excess production of SCFA by oral microbiome because these also gets converted into acetic acid and lactic acid, which can change the pH level of the mouth and which can have, inflammatory impact. But again, it does have an, anti-inflammatory impact, right? As far as the oral induced SCFA is concerned, right? Second is the nitric oxide. Again, nitric oxide is something which is, which is one of the most essential molecules. We have discussed this over previous talks that it actually helps in blood circulation, vasodilation, and you know uh, it helps in regulating your blood pressure, hypertension, and and having cardioprotective effects, right? Uh, so there are basically two pathways of producing nitric oxide, which we have already discussed. But I'm going to talk about the oral microbiome here. So a lot of these microbes convert nitrate in food substances such as leafy greens, green vegetables into nitrate, and this nitrate again gets mixes with your stomach acid, where it actually produces nitric oxide, which has anti-inflammatory effect, right? But again, if you have an acid reflux situation or you're taking too much of PPAs or statin, probably this will interfere with the production of nitric oxide, which can increase the risk of cardiovascular. So probably, if you have an acid reflux issue, if you are taking PPI, if you're taking statin because of high blood pressure level, probably it is going to be contraindicated and it is going to increase your risk of cardiovascular disease, right? Third thing is, hydrogen sulfide production. Again, H2S is actually a byproduct of the interaction between your microbiome and foods such as which is high in sulfide and homocysteine and cysteine, right? And again, these have an cardiovascular cardioprotective benefits, right? So H2S is beneficial for cardiovascular, even for our insulin sensitivity, but a lot of this H2S can produce halitosis, can cause bad breath inside our mouth, right? And which also increase the risk of inflammation and oral cancer. So we have to be very cautious about consumption of a lot of foods which can trigger H2S production by oral microbiome. Third is again LPS, as I shared. LPS is something which is really endotoxin, which can create insulin resistance, which can impact cardiovascular disease, whether it is produced by oral or gut microbiome both. Third is TMAO, right? Again, methylmalonic oxide. Again, this is a byproduct of interaction between our microbiome and foods such as food high in choline and L-carnitine, right? So this can this can cause plague in arteries. Again, the TMO produced by the oral microbiome can actually increase the impact of the TMO produced by the gut, right? So again, it is one of the most harmful, metabolites which can cause cardiovascular disease. So essentially, you really need to understand all these at a molecular level, which are triggering, inflammation, systemic inflammation, right? And oral dysbiosis can lead to a lot of bacteria moving to bloodstream and causing cardiovascular impact, increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease, or probably through saliva going into gut and probably triggering inflammatory responses, right? Again, this is, so we know this. So even mouthwashes or toothpaste which are high in artificial sweeteners such as saccharin, aspartame, toothpaste having SLS can increase your risk of cardiovascular disease, right? It causes oral dysbiosis, right? Second aspect I briefly want to touch upon is the gut microbiome. Probably we have discussed about LPS and TMAO, which causes inflammatory response, which causes uh, lesion, which causes increase the risk of cardiovascular and causes plague in arteries. So uh, uh, another important metabolite. Again, this is really important for those who say eat high protein diet, right? Probably have a lot of protein powders, and food high in chicken, fruit, turkey, all these things. So there is a specific metabolite which is released, which is produced, by certain microbes in our gut, which are called proteobacteria, gamma proteobacteria. Again, if they are active and they are expressing genes which can lead to, activation of certain enzymatic pathways, which can convert certain processes such as phenylalanine, and glutamine into PAG, which is phenylalanine acetyl glutamine. Right? This is one of the independent cause for cardiovascular disease, right? So if you think you're eating protein to to regulate your insulin level or blood sugar response, probably you may be doing more worse to your body, right? So really need to understand these pathways, both produced by oral and the gut microbiome, right? So just to sum up, SCFA is great, right? It helps in regulating insulin sensitivity, but there is a question mark on the SCFA produced by oral microbiome again, and it is beneficial. Second thing is the nitric oxide production, which is again done by you know either by nitric oxide synthase, which is again a byproduct of L-arginine. L-arginine is not something; is a semi-essential amino acid, so probably you don't need to take too much of from food; your body itself produces. Second thing is obviously nitric acid produced by oral microbiome, which converts nitrate into nitrite. So foods which are high in nitrate, such as leafy greens, convert into nitrite, and nitrite actually flows to your stomach as well. It mixes with stomach acid and produce nitric oxide. This is really beneficial for regulating blood pressure level, regulating insulin sensitivity, right? Third thing is H2S. H2S again, H2S produced by oral microbiome, not the gut microbiome. Produced by the oral microbiome is actually have an cardioprotective effect, right? So it can reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, but stress can also lead to a situation such as called as halitosis, again, bad breath, and this can increase inflammation and increase the risk of colon cancer. So we have to be very, very cautious about, the foods which we are taking in terms of which add and capability of producing H2S, right? Again, third thing is LPS, again, lipopolysaccharides, consumption of a lot of sugar, processed foods, which can feed proteobacteria, which can convert a lot of these foods into lipopolysaccharides, which can have an pro-inflammatory response, which can trigger production of pro-inflammatory molecules, which can lead to, development of these. Fourth thing is TMAO, right? Again, it is a byproduct of choline L-carnitine, right? Again, it can from a gut microbiome perspective, it can go through liver and produce TMAO, which can cause a plague in arteries. Similarly, TMAO produced by oral microbiome can further increase the impact of the gut microbiome production of TMAO, right? Fifth thing is the metabolite produced by your gut microbiome, which is PAG. Again, we think a lot of high protein diet is really, really beneficial. Probably certain proteins such as phenylalanine and glutamine can feed certain microbes if they're active, if they're expressing some virulence genes, right? It can lead to production of PAG, right? Convert these proteins into PAG, which is the nutrient risk factor of cardiovascular disease, right? So instead of probably plasma level tests like insulin level or insulin resistant test or homocysteine test is great, right? But it should not be starting point for the ending point, right? So to understand the biological process going on inside your body, right? That's what we have been doing at Gene Freakletics. So we actually, decode your biology at a molecular level, study the functions and the activities of oral and the gut microbiome, and then determine what is making you develop cardiovascular disease and many other diseases, and then provide disease modifying therapeutic interventions. So that is for today. Have a good day. Thank you very much.